The Golden State Warriors are reportedly hoping that they can sign LeBron James for the full mid-level exception, but does that actually make sense as it's being reported that LeBron is likely to return to the Los Angeles Lakers? We're going to talk about that. Plus, the Jazz are playing hardball with Walker Kessler. Could that leave him leaving? And Keyonte George as well. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to obtain 2 more first-round picks in the draft, and the Timberwolves are looking for another ball handler next to Anthony Edwards. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And reportedly, we're starting off with this one. The Golden State Warriors are hoping that they can sign LeBron James for the full the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which comes up to $15 million. That's where they're prepared to offer LeBron James to get him to come to the Golden State Warriors this summer. And here's the thing. I understand that the Golden State Warriors are near it, right? They're going to have to clear some space even way with that to stay under the first tax apron regardless. Using the non-taxpayer mid-level exception does trigger a hard cap as well at the first tax apron. So if the Golden State Warriors are confident that they can create the cap space needed to be able to use the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, it brings some interesting wrinkles into that. But, like, you better hope that LeBron James is enough to get it done for you if that ends up being the case. Like, and this one comes from Anthony Slater of ESPN. I just don't see this working. Like, I don't think this is working. This seems like a shot of desperation. Now, don't get me wrong. If somehow Steph Curry is able to recruit LeBron James to the Golden State Warriors to pay for the $15 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception, shout out to him on that one. But here's the thing. Let's talk about it, right? Like, is this a last-ditch effort, to really get it done? I'll say this. The Golden State Warriors should make the call. I'm adamant that teams should make the call on players that they want. Like, the most you can say is no. If LeBron James is even slightly open to taking less money to pair with Steph Curry and give the Warriors one last championship window, you have to make the call because you have to at least make him turn you down, right? Now, here, if LeBron was to come to the Golden State Warriors, he wouldn't have to carry the entire offense. You got Steph for that, right? Jimmy's probably not giving you much this year. Curry, of course, would make the life easier. Steve Kerr is already a proven championship coach that can coach. He's coached these guys in the Olympics, right? At $15 million, that's the type of swing that you take on LeBron James every day of the week and you just deal with the repercussions of it. But here's it is, right? Here's the reality of it. This sounds better as a headline, and it may look like something, of course, on the court. It's interesting to see Steph and LeBron play together and all that type of stuff. But LeBron taking that level of pay cut, I just don't see it. I think the more realistic thing is maybe trying to work out in sign and trade where Jimmy goes to another destination. LeBron could come to the Golden State Warriors and the Warriors would have to give up picks and stuff like that. Like maybe that, but I just don't see this being a realistic option at all. Shout out to Anthony Slater of ESPN, but I just think this, like, of course, Draymond is open to restructure his contract. Maybe he can make it happen in regards to this one, but the Warriors bending their entire offseason on a short-term gamble like that for LeBron James, I just don't see it. And I think what we've heard is that the most common thing is LeBron is going to go back to the Los Angeles Lakers. I still don't know if I think that's the right choice for him either, but it is what it is. Like the Warriors here is like you're chasing a championship and that's fine, but it's also like you're betting so much on nostalgia. It's almost kind of sad at this point in time. Like, and listen, I want to give credit. Like what Steph is still able to do at this age is absolutely huge. So I do not mean Steph is not taking a shot at any players. It's more so the franchise. Like this is where you are. Like let's just remember where we were this time last year, or not even this time, later in the offseason. It was literally right before the start of the season that the Golden State Warriors were able to even field a full roster. They literally did it right before training camp in signing players to actually fill out their roster. They almost opened up training camp without a full NBA roster. That's crazy, right? And they put themselves right back in a situation similar to it. Now, do they have some trade assets? Yeah. They got some pieces that they can try to move to get some players in there. They got some stuff like, I think they mishandled the Jonathan Kuminga situation. They could have got more players back in that. Like, at just every step of the way has led this team to be in the spot where it is right now. I'm like, yeah, you got some talent. Yeah, you can compete to be about 500. and maybe compete for a spot of a play-in. But is the championship window truly even there anymore for the Golden State Warriors? I personally have my doubts. I know other people have their doubts as well. And I guess we'll see where the chips fall in that case. Let me know what you guys think on that part down below. The Utah Jazz have offered Walker Kessler reportedly a 5-year, $140 million deal, which if my math is correct, that equates to about $28 million. Now, this feeds into another offseason rumor that we heard. We heard that the cap that the Utah Jazz were going to offer for Walker Kessler was about $30 million, and that puts you around that spot, right? And so are the Jazz, like we've heard now that Walker Kessler feels a little bit disrespected by this offer and the way that the Jazz have handled Walker Kessler's career. Now, I will say this. If I'm the Utah Jazz, I'm looking to move off Lauri Markkanen, maybe to the Golden State Warriors. And then at that point, I'm looking at re-signing Walker Kessler. You have Jaren Jackson Jr. with Walker Kessler. We know Jaren Jackson Jr. does not want to play the center position. And I think you have one of the best shot-blocking duos in the game of basketball, if that's the case. And, of course, what you do in the draft, if you get A.J. DeBonsa, in there, whatever it is, whatever player you get, like this is a Jazz team that is legitimately going to be making a push, a real push this year. But at this point in time, like I kind of understand it from the Walker Kessler spot too. Kessler has been on this Utah Jazz team his whole career. And literally since he came there, this has been a tanking team. And now he has the moniker of being an injury-prone player where I really feel like a lot of those games he had to sit because the Jazz were trying to tank games. Now, of course, last season, his season ended with a legitimate injury. You can't take away from that. But that's the type of injury that players make 100% recovery from, so that's not really a big deal there. What's the argument for paying Walker Kessler? I think it's simple. Walker Kessler is an elite rim protector. He's already shown that he's one of the best shot-blocking and rebounding bigs in this league, period, right? And with Utah having the rights to match his contract, but dragging this thing out, it can create frustration that even if you do match a contract or we sign him, he could just try to force his way out later down the road. And we know how uncomfortable that can be. And while you're trying to make your conversion to actually being a competing team, the last thing you want is a disgruntled player on a over $30 million contract, right? So if the Jazz believe that he is part of what they're trying to do, stop playing hardball, give him a fair market deal, even if you want to say, hey, okay, go out there, let the market set your value, come back to us with what the market says, we'll match the offer just so you don't think we're lowballing you. Cool, great, do that. But at this point, it seems like the Jazz are just, again, playing games where they don't need to play games. But let's flip this. Let's talk about the side of why the Jazz may want to play it a little safer than paying him. 5 years, $140 million for a non-all-star player. You could talk yourself into that being a lot. Right now, I do think, again, the Utah Jazz have created this situation just a little bit with how they've tanked over the last few years. But you also got to look at the Jazz. They're $66 million below the first tax apron, $79 million beneath the second tax apron. You have so many players on this team that are on rookie scale contracts. Ace Bailey, 3 more years of rookie scale. Keyonte George, who we'll get on in a second, 1 more year between restricted free agency, right? You have those type of things that you're looking at. Kyle Filipowski, 2 more years on his rookie scale deal. So you have players that are on rookie scale deals here, but at the same time, that money, as you get closer and closer to the second tax apron, it can add up pretty quickly when it comes down to that one, right? So I think that you have to ask yourself that simple question. Yes, Walker Kessler, in my opinion, is underrated, but is he asking to be paid like something that he hasn't become yet? And that's a fair question that the Utah Jazz are going to have to find the answer to. So we'll see. But he's not the only player reportedly for the Utah Jazz that's getting frustrated with how this team is doing business, because reportedly as well, Keyonte George and the Jazz are unlikely to reach a contract extension. This one comes from Tim McMahon of ESPN, who says this: the Utah Jazz and guard Keyonte George are unlikely to agree on a rookie contract extension despite the franchise's confidence in him long term. Sources told ESPN Utah's front office is seeking further confirmation of his breakout 2025-26 campaign before committing to a maximum level deal. George, who struggled through his first 2 seasons, averaged 23.6 points, 6.1 assists last season while posting 60% true shooting percentage, a dramatic improvement in efficiency that repositioned him as a core piece of Utah's rebuilding effort. Now, I do think part of this plays into as well, like Keyonte George is a guard. If the Utah Jazz if they do decide to go Darren Peterson in this draft, is that part of the reason as well why they're hesitant to give him long-term money when it all comes down to it? So there's things that you have to look at this when you're viewing it in the long-term team building aspect of this, that it's fair to ask those questions on, right? And so if you view Keyonte George as your long-term one, but you're thinking about drafting Darren Peterson, who has said that even though I see him as a shooting guard, he said that he's seen himself as a point guard. You have to ask your case in. Like the sides of this argument is this: Keyonte George leap was massive, averaging over 23 points, hugely efficient from that as well. It changes the conversation for any player, right? And with the Jazz trying to build around young talent, locking him in now could actually create stability. If he has another season like last year, the price could actually go up, right? But the case against extending him is that one breakout season does not mean that's who you're going to be for sure. And teams are a little bit reluctant when it's one season of a major breakout, and it just so happens to come the year before you become a restricted free agent, right? And so now with this, you have the number 2 pick in this draft with another high usage upside guard that you're probably going to add in there if you draft Darren Peterson. And so now it's like Keyonte George, is that production even sustainable with how your team's likely to be built going forward, right? The Jazz are right to be a little bit patient, and maybe that decision comes during the draft, after the draft, whatever it is. But at the same time, like, this is a Jazz team that now is risking alienating 2 young pieces that could absolutely be part of this next phase of you actually competing and contending. Well, competing, because I don't think they're contenders yet, but competing. And do you need to do that right now? That's the question that you have to ask yourself, and I guess we'll see. Moving on from that, the Milwaukee Bucks reportedly, their asking price for doing business has become, they want 3 first-round picks. They want to have 3 first-round picks in this draft. And I've talked a little bit about that, right? Like for a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, who always have to draft their best players, right? Free agents don't typically come there. They've never really been a big free agent destination, even over Giannis's time there as well, right? This comes from Jake Fisher, who says, it was reported on Tuesday that the team are not in love with the Heat's trade package for Giannis, which would involve receiving 13th overall pick. Antetokounmpo reportedly signed an extension with the Celtics should he be traded to them. The Milwaukee Bucks are looking to have as many as 3 first-round picks in the upcoming draft. So here's the thing. 3 first-round picks in this draft could absolutely be franchise-changing, even if you just hit on 2 of those picks. If you hit on all 3, then you have the depth that you need there to kind of consistently do your rebuild. You're also looking for young players back for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So that all makes sense, and it's all going to even out in the wash when it comes down to that. And I personally don't think that the Milwaukee Bucks are asking for too much. Like, if you trade Giannis, if Giannis Antetokounmpo is truly on the table, you better extract every single asset possible that you can get back for that. It's just the reality of it, right? 3 first-round picks gives you flexibility, gives you young talent, and a real rebuilding launch pad, right? Now, for this, asking for 3 first-round picks in any draft may limit the market because that is a lot of picks to have in one draft. Now, we've seen it happen a few times before, right? But if teams know that Giannis has a preferred destination, it could shrink the leverage that the Milwaukee Bucks have, and that's what we're dealing with. But hey, set the price high and have teams forcibly talk you down off your asking price. That is always the best way to do business in the NBA, and that's what the Milwaukee Bucks are looking for here. And so are they pricing themselves out of the best deal, or are they just setting the market value high the teams are going to have to live up for? They're going to want a star in Giannis Antetokounmpo. I guess we'll see in regards to that one. The lastly on here, the team that could be also in the Giannis market is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Reportedly, the Minnesota Timberwolves are looking to package the number 28th pick to find an additional ball handler with this team. This also comes from Jake Fisher that says the Timberwolves are in conversation to trade the 28th pick in the upcoming draft. The team is reportedly looking for an additional ball handler. They may have been linked to Ja Morant and Kyrie Irving and are also currently working on a deal for Ayo Dosunmu. So the Minnesota Timberwolves are a team that didn't make the Western Conference Finals for the third year in a row. We've already heard that Anthony Edwards is putting pressure on that front office to improve that roster, right? And Anthony Edwards does need another creator. Do I think if he is healthy, Kyrie Irving can help that? Absolutely. Could Ja Morant, a refocused Ja Morant on a team that's actually winning, help that? Absolutely. But the Wolves have to be careful. They already have an expensive roster. They're already competitive. And if they blow out too much of their identity, it could actually help hurt them long term, right? Minnesota needs help, yes. But it also needs the right help around Anthony Edwards. And we'll see how they end up getting that done. You flirting around with the 28th pick can help that for sure. But the Minnesota Timberwolves are clearly out here looking for a big deal. Do they find it? I guess we'll see. But that's going to do it for today's episode, man. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in to this episode. I need to hear from y'all on this one. Do you think LeBron actually takes the full mid-level exception to go to the Warriors? Do you think Walker Kessler is worth $140 million? And do you think they're lowballing Keyonte George or just preparing for the simple fact that they just may not have room for him going forward? Let me know what you guys think on all of that down below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything basketball and NBA related. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
Been a presentation of the Break Media.